Welcome to Mr. Giant Reacts a Ting and Ting and Ting. I'm Mr. Giant, and today we're going to be watching top 10 scary Norwegian urban legends. Oh yeah, you know what I mean? Hey, this is all part of history here, you know what I mean? We're going to find out about them urban legends from past and maybe if there's anything new, you know what I mean? So let's YouTube and simmer and see what these 10 Norwegian urban legends is all about.
Hello and welcome back to the most amazing channel on the internet. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and it was about time we did this video. That's right, today we are finally talking about the top 10 Norwegian urban legends. Norway has such a long and rich culture and is filled to the brim with folklore and legends, so I'm really excited for this video. But before we get into it, I want you guys to let me know what scary ghost stories you have in your town. Also, please do leave a thumbs up button and share this video with a friend, and if you guys want to connect with me on social media, there is a link to my Instagram in the description box. Disclaimer, I'm sorry Norway if I pronounce stuff wrong. Coming into number 10, we have the demon dog of the Akershus fortress. Did I say that right? Built in the 1300s, the castle of Akershus was paramount in defending Oslo. Later, the building became a prison with rumors of cruelty rife. The Nazis occupied the building in World War II also. The fortress is said to be rife with ghosts, including a faceless robe-wearing woman. The most popular legend is that of the demon dog called Malcanison. Malcanison is a bad omen, and the legend goes that if you see the shaggy stray, you will die a horrible death at some point over the next 3 months. Great, this might be the only dog that I don't fancy stroking. Usually I'm like, yay, dogs, but no, boo the Deathbringer. Coming in at number 9, we have the Draugen. The Draugen is a figure from Norse mythology that many Norwegians still believe in today. The Draugen is a seafaring phantom, the ghost of a person who is said to have died at sea. The Draugen is said to be seen on stormy nights trying to get to shore on a splintered and wrecked boat. The face of a Draugen is said to be fish-like with black eyes and with seaweed hair. It is said that those who sail in a storm are likely to encounter the Draugen, who will draw them in, suck them into a whirlpool and pull them beneath the water, drowning them and taking their vessels. These fishermen and sailors are then said to rise through the water as Draugen themselves. Surrounded by ocean, you can imagine why this legend is so popular and so terrifying in Norway. Bad children, beware of the Draugen at number 8. The Draugen is an urban legend to keep kids in check. Ladies and gentlemen, kids, teens, brace yourself. The Draugen is a toilet spirit, a slimy, malevolent monster that hides inside the U-bend, a bit like a cross between Moaning Myrtle and Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh. It seems that the Draugen originated in the 1970s. Sometimes the creature is depicted as a serpent, sometimes as a ghost. Whatever the shape, the Draugen is said to prey on bad kids. If a child's been acting out, the Draugen is said to drag them away down the sewers. Yikes. Coming in at number 7, we have dark elves. Norse mythology was all about an elf. Elves have been part of Norwegian folklore for thousands of years, and they come in both benevolent and malevolent forms. Light elves are said to be mini-gods of nature that bring love and light and inspiration. These elves were good craftsmen and said to be kind in so many ways. However, we aren't here to talk about the good stuff because this is scary Norwegian urban legends. These good elves do also have the ability to be harmful to humans. If they annoy them, they can easily cause illnesses. However, it is the dark elves you want to watch out for. Known as Svartalfheim, these elves are ugly beings that turn to stone in sunlight, so instead they live in dark, gloomy areas. These elves are said to taunt animals, especially horses, making them bolt. They're also said to give humans terrible nightmares. Whether anyone to this day truly believes in them still or not, the dark elves are often blamed for scary dreams.
No, I've noticed something. We seemed to have had a healthy fare of small people or little people, and I don't understand why that is. Like in my country, in past urban legend, the little people were called Bakus back there, and they were a front man for the Obia man, which Obia and voodoo is sort of the same thing, you know. It might not be back in West Africa where the religions are from, but you know, in the Caribbean they sort of mesh together because of the different tribes that were put together. But the Baku, and I'll be honest with you, for the longest while I was afraid of little people because of the stories and I had nightmares about them all the time, you know. And it had nothing to do with the stories of elves and stuff. This was just a local grown story. And the Obeah man would send out the Baku to do reconnaissance and stuff like that. If he wants to, you know, you guys say put a curse on. Back on the island, when I was growing up, they're going to do you. Now that means a whole different thing in this modern times where I live here. But back home, if the Obeah man put a curse on you, or he's going to put a curse on you, he go do you. But so there's always been this sort of fear of little people, and it's not because I'm 7'1", you know. It's not like the elephant and the mouse type of situation, but because of that whole mysticism that's put on them. You know what I mean? In a kind of a way, I think that a lot of parents use that to stop their children from teasing or bullying the little people, because kids could be mean. So if you figure, hey, he works for the Obeah man, you're not going to mess with him because the Obeah man could do you. And I think that's another reason why they were also sort of matched with the Obeah man, because I've never seen an Obeah man that had a little person, unless they kept it secret, come in to do his biddings and stuff. But anyway, let's get back to this video here. This is quite interesting, all here. This is quite interesting.
Into number 5, this is a very modern one. We have the Haunted Travel Agency. It seems that ghosts need a little break too. I'm guessing that actually haunting's kind of exhausting. No, that's exactly what the ghouls haunting a travel agency in the Norwegian town of Moss wanted. Unfortunately, the pesky living souls were all scared and called in clairvoyants to help rid them of the wanderlusty spectres. Marianne Harland Bogdanoff, a skeptic who managed the travel agency, had her beliefs altered when she experienced weird goings on at her workplace. She said that computers broke down for no reason and that strange smells started wafting through the office. Staff members would complain of headaches and heard strange noises. IT technicians, electricians and plumbers came to check out the building but couldn't find the source. Staff never saw the ghost, but they certainly felt it. Eventually, a clairvoyant cleansed the office and the spirits seemed to vanish. In the same town, a woman who worked at the tourism board said that the German language brochures always ended at the top of the pile, despite there being very few German-speaking people in the town. Eventually it was discovered that a German soldier had worked in the same building during the Nazi occupation of Norway. Coming in at number 4, we have the tortured soul.
So here's the thing about ghosts, okay? Whether you believe in it or not, you know what I mean? Do I believe in it? 50-50. Because here's the deal. There's an old building down here called the Albee Theater, right? And it's an old building, and they had like parties and stuff there back in the day, and it's an old theater, you know, and it's closed now, but the bathrooms to me seem like a dungeon. And I guess it's because I'm 7 foot tall, so you know I had to duck a lot of the way. There's like these hallways, you go down the steps and stuff like that, and I would go in there and I would always feel like somebody's watching me in there when I'm the only one in there. Or also always think to see a shadow move or something like that. So I always wonder, the sightings of ghosts, is it your heightened awareness to certain things that create these apparitions or create the feeling of something being there? Because I mean, even like with humans, with living people, you know, you feel like there's somebody there, and there is somebody there. But what I'm trying to say is this: if somebody goes to a ghost house knowing it's a ghost house, some of the feelings they have or some of the things that they see, is it something that's already implanted in their mind that could happen? So with heightened awareness and right on the edge of fear, you see things that's not really there, or you hear things that's not really making noises, or any noise would seem like a ghostly noise, because that's what you expect when you're in there. Let's get back to the video here. Food for some thought there and take, you know what I mean?
Of Lear Psych House. The Lear Psych House is an old mental asylum in the city Drammen. The imposing building closed its doors in the 1980s and it's creepy and abandoned today. The building is thought to have tortured patients with experimental drugs like LSD. It is also said that some patients were given lobotomies. With a dark past comes a dark energy. A lot of people who have explored the abandoned building are totally convinced that it is haunted. People have seen apparitions, felt cold hands touch their bodies, and even heard screams echoing down empty corridors. This is one place that I would not like to visit in Norway.
No.
Coming into number 3, we have the legend of Pester. Pester is like the Norwegian Grim Reaper and came around in Norse folklore following the horrifying Black Death. The Black Death killed half the population of Norway, so you can understand why the Norwegians gave the brutal illness, the bringer of death, a human face. They did it so they could better understand it. Pester is the character they invented, and these days she's considered to be a general death omen like the Grim Reaper. She is characterized as being haggard, ashen-faced, and wearing a red skirt. She carries a broomstick and a rake. The legend from the Plague era goes that if you saw Pester with a rake, there was some hope that some of your community would survive. But if she yielded a broom, then there was no hope for any of you. These days, Pester is still talked about as a deathbringer, and a lot like the Grim Reaper, once she's seen, she's unavoidable. Coming into...
No, sort of the same idea or vein, but not as deadly as the Black Plague. I remember back home, anybody who have swollen feet, and I do believe, and correct me in the description if I'm wrong, there's an affliction called Elephantiasis, where people's foot just swell up and it looks like an elephant's foot. And to explain that, people would say, and I don't know if it's adults that this came from, but I know us kids would say that the Albee man had set something out in front of her door, she stepped on it, and her feet swole. So in order to explain what obviously is I don't know if it's a disease or what it is, but you know, some kind of a scientific explanation for that happening, and we don't understand it, we said the Albee man did it to her. And I remember this lady walking through the village, and she had like one foot that was really swollen and the other one was normal. And the lady was sick, but you know, we didn't know. So we call it the Albee man fixer, which is, you know, which I'm assuming happened a lot back in the day, but this was the 1970s though. But you know, before that, they couldn't explain the Black Plague. They create something that would explain it to some. Not to all, but to some. Let's get back to the video.
Number 2, we have the Headless Monk of Trondheim. This is perhaps the most famous ghost in Norway. The Cathedral of Nidarosdomen is situated in the Norwegian city of Trondheim and dates back to the medieval times. The church was restored in 1814, and somewhere along the way it attracted a ghost. Standard cathedral practice, really. The monk is a menace and is said to want to choke people on sight. In 1924, a bishop's wife saw the monk as she attended a church service at the cathedral. She described the man as very attractive, with a sharp face and piercing blue eyes. He placed his hands round the priest's throat and tried to strangle him as he gave a sermon. Members of the choir and churchgoers saw hands around the man's neck, but not all saw the figure. The bishop's wife then realized the monk was bleeding heavily from the neck. Since this sighting, other people have reported seeing the monk, who appears to attempt to strangle people he takes a disliking to. Some have seen him without a head altogether, which is pretty terrifying. Finally, coming into number 1, part urban legend and part deep mystery today, we have the Isdal Woman of Death Valley. Isdalen Valley in Bergen, Norway is colloquially called Death Valley. The location was a popular suicide spot in the medieval times, and also a dangerous place to hike in the fog, meaning a lot of people have accidentally fallen to their deaths. Rumour of the spot being haunted are of course rife, but that isn't the most terrifying thing about this place. In November of 1970, Recently, a man walking with his 2 daughters found the badly burned body of a woman. The woman was found lying on her back in a remote area and only her front was burned. Her back, strangely, wasn't. Also strangely, jewellery had been placed around the woman. Clothes were found nearby, burned and with the labels cut out. Very strange. Stranger still, police investigating her death found 2 suitcases at Bergen railway station. One contained prescription-free glasses and a fingerprint that matched the woman's. The case also contained a number of different currencies and several wigs. Police later found the unidentified woman stayed at a number of different hotels using 8 fake names and passports. One shoe store owner remembers her smelling strongly of garlic. Despite all of the strange evidence and speculation that she may be a spy, the police closed the case. What happened to her, who she was, and why she was killed, we don't know.
Wow.
The people of Norway have a lot to say on the topic. So guys, that was such an interesting list. Where should we make an urban legends video about next? Let me know in the comment section down below.
Now I have to say the last one was quite interesting, especially since it's more recent. No, you know, with forensic and things now, you could probably say the cutting off of the label is so that they wouldn't know where the woman bought it, so they couldn't find her that way. Even though the fingerprints match, you have all these aliases. Could it be a spy? Could it be somebody running from an abusive spouse? Nobody really knows, and yeah, that's crazy there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, okay? I'll leave a link in the description, and I'll also leave links here for other urban legend videos. You all keep watching, check the vibe out and take, okay? Enjoy it with me. You all take care of each other. Cool runnings.